Dear property developers, what is it with you people building super tiny kitchens? Don't y'all cook? Hello? Hey guys, welcome back to my channel and welcome back to a brand new vlog. So I guess from the title of the video you already know what I'm going to be talking about. This is more like what is obtainable in 2026, and so today I'm gonna bring you up to speed and share the tips that have helped me to secure like really good spaces and my experience so far with rental living ever since I got to Canada. So to be honest with you, when I started and now, trust me, I've learned quite a number of things, and I'm putting this video together to help you if you're a new immigrant here in Canada, or you're looking to rent your apartment for whatever reason, your next apartment, and you just don't know how to go about it. I am really hoping that this video is very insightful for you and it helps you to get the place that you truly love for the next while and that you can call home. So as someone who's lived here for a while, I have moved places 5 times. Yes, don't come for me, I said 5 times. So yeah, I think I would say that I have enough experience to share with you what I've learned so far. So please, if this is the kind of content that you're interested in, like, subscribe and save this video. Please share because people would really need this information. Let's jump right into this video. So I made a quick list to share with you guys because I'm using my phone to record and I already put all of my notes in there. So this is just like a reminder of what I already put in my notes. So the first thing that I have learned so far as part of my experience being a renter here in Toronto, Canada, and by the way, let me even say that these tips I find would be helpful to you regardless of where you are. I think so. I believe so. So, and regardless of the type of accommodation that you're looking to have, I know that definitely, maybe not everything would apply to you, but I feel like a lot of things would be useful to you. So yeah, the first thing that you should have is a budget. A budget. I cannot overemphasize. Now, one thing that I've come to understand so far is that I would like to keep, or it's something I'm practicing right now, making my fixed expenses as low as possible. Trust me guys, there was one time I filed taxes and I realized that my rent was way too high, and I wish someone had really told me some of the things that I had to learn on my own. I had to figure it out on my own. So yeah, do well to engage with this video because I'm bringing you a lot. Still on having a budget, I cannot overemphasize how this is very important for you because trust me, you're gonna see lots and lots of houses and you will start wishing, you will start thinking, maybe I can do this, maybe I cut from here. The thing with that is that after the first few months of living there, reality sets in. And you're asking yourself, was this really a good move? Now, the goal of having a beautiful space to live is also, while you're there, you can afford to be there for the next while. I mean, if that is the season of your life, you are content, you are happy with where you're living, and it makes the most sense for you because you don't want to go rent a place that is above your pay grade. Rent here is super expensive, and if you live in Toronto, you know it's even more expensive. So it's helpful to have a budget. Most importantly, stay committed to that budget. Now, if you have to up it a little bit, I can understand that maybe the current realities are not like you underestimated and you're seeing that across board it's not what fits your budget. You need to up it a little. I completely understand that. So, but when you are within your budget, it really helps you to stay focused and look at apartments within that range. Now, the next important tip is to know and have the things that are, I call them my non-negotiables. Now, these are the things that I must find in my apartment, and I'm not settling for any other thing that are not within this my non-negotiable list. So have that also, because you will go to see different houses. These agents would, like, try to convince you. I mean, they want to take it off and they want to get it rented as quickly as possible. But when you stay true to the things that are a must-have for you in your apartment, trust me, even though the process can be daunting looking through several apartments, when you find that one, it will make the most sense to you. I promise you, it will make the most sense to you. So stick to the things that are super important to you and that you're not going to have it any other way. Now, the next thing on my list is to also have the things that you are flexible on. So the things that you can negotiate, like it's a nice to have, so even if you don't have it, you can do without it. So in a moment, I'm going to break it down for you, the things that were my must-haves and the things that were my nice to haves, or the things that I could negotiate on. Like if they weren't in my apartment, I wouldn't care so much, like it's not a big deal, but if I had it, oh yay, hooray, it's nice and all good. And I'm going to also share the things that I would not have it any other way, like some of the things that are compulsory for me. So this is a disclaimer: the things that are my must-haves may not necessarily be yours. So feel free to use this format to curate your list and work with it. So now we've talked about having a budget and staying committed to your budget. And now the next thing we're talking about is the things that are super important to you and the things that you can like negotiate, you're flexible. So you already kind of have a plan, right? You see how that is building up and it's making sense, right? So the first thing on my must-have is that I wanted to, so for my budget, right? My budget was having an apartment that is under $2,000. And for context, I am renting a 1-bedroom apartment. So and I live in Toronto. I wanted something that would be less than $2,000, again including all of my utilities. You heard me right, it's very possible, or if not entirely all my utilities, at least or at most 95% of it. So if I have to pay any other thing extra, it is not much. Does that make sense to you? Yes. And hey, it is possible. Trust me, don't let anyone tell you that it's not possible. It is possible. You just have to be patient. You have to, find that one. And this actually brings me to another point that I did not mention earlier. Another tip is for you to start early to look, so you're not feeling pressured. For example, if your current lease is going to end in like 3 months time, you do know that you have to give your landlord 60 days notice, right? So before you put in that notice, I highly recommend that you start looking, so you're not under any sort of pressure. Now I'm going to share a story with you. So this apartment wasn't even the one that I wanted at first. Trust me, the one I really liked, that like that really ticked everything for me, I got pre-approved for it, but for some reason that apartment was no longer available. Like no excuse, nothing, no explanation. They just said, oh, it's not available. And I had already told my landlord that I'm moving out because I got the assurance that I've been pre-approved. Now again, another tip: until you have signed your contract, that you are pre-approved doesn't mean that you will get the apartment. Know this and know peace. This is one experience that I had recently and it was a shocker to me. I'm like, I thought I got pre-approved, but apparently that you have been pre-approved does not mean that you will get the apartment until you have signed your contract. So then so this is another tip, right? So plan it in such a way that you start early to look. You're not under any pressure, like you're calm and you're making all these decisions. Because again, the moment you are under some sort of time crunch or pressure, you most likely would exceed your budget. You most likely would overlook all of these things and try to settle. And the reality of this is that eventually, say after the next few months, it's more like a realization that this is not the place for you, and now you're going to be stuck with having to be there for at least 1 year, because the lease agreements here are typically 1 year, and after that you can switch to a month to month. Rent is monthly here, but you first of all lock it down for 1 year. So imagine your frustration living in a place that you do not really like. Trust me, that is torture. And guess what? You're paying heavily to live in a place that you don't like, so you don't want to make that mistake. Okay, so I wanted a place that is rent controlled. What does that mean? Rent controlled are places where, like, the law kind of, shields you as a tenant, such that the landlord is not permitted to increase the rent by a certain percentage, and it falls between 2 and 2.5%. So you would typically find that the older apartments tend to be more rent controlled, and these are buildings that were built before I think November of 2018. Anything beyond that point, they are not rent controlled, and the implication of that is that the landlord has the right to increase the rent at will, and based off of whatever he thinks is fair to him or to them or to the management, right? The property management. So I learned this the hard way. One of the places I lived in, it wasn't rent controlled. It was a brand new condo, super lovely. But by the end of my first year, the rent just jacked up. And on a month-to-month basis, it might not make sense to you. It might seem like it's just this amount of money. But by the time you add it at the end of the year, you realize that money, you could have used it to do something else. So you're talking about, by the end of the year, over maybe $1,200. That's a lot of money. That is some people's rent for 1 month. So yes, rent controlled is a must-have for me. So that means the older buildings would most likely be rent controlled than the newer buildings. And this brings me to my next point. I love me a very spacious apartment, super spacious. I don't like clutter, and I have things, right? Over my years living here, I've gathered quote and unquote furniture and properties in my space, and I've conditioned it the way I want it to work for me. So I look out for spaces that can actually truly represent me as an individual, that I can bring my personality into, and I don't have to settle. Like, I don't have to sell off my stuff to fit into the space. The space has to work for me and not the opposite. So I look out for a very spacious apartment, and most times the older apartments tend to be spacious than the newer condos. Yes, I know the thought of having a brand new space, like you're the first person, using the space, it's lovely. I get all of that, but I'm behind all of that, jazz and razzmatazz, and right now it's not what I want, especially as I'm renting, because space is a must-have for me. Again, this is the part where I say my must-haves must not necessarily be yours. So you're free to come up with your list, curate your list, because it is unique to you. But this is unique to me, okay? So because I am looking at older buildings, one thing that I wanted to note is that I looked out for the ones that were properly managed, highly maintained, doesn't have roaches, doesn't have rodents and pests and whatever and bugs. Yes, now this is one flip side of the coin that is typical with the older buildings. Some of these buildings are as old as 60, 70 years old. Some of them are slightly less, maybe 30, 40, 25 and whatever. So make sure that if you feel like you want to live in an old apartment, please be sure to check that your specific unit is squeaky clean, thoroughly managed. Like, when you go view the apartments, look at the floor, look at the wood. You would know if you would know the difference between a roach infested apartment and the one that is clean. Trust me, you would know. One typical way to find out is the wood. It would usually have a smell and things like that. I know like some tenants can be nasty and they leave the place in such a shitty condition, but ensure that first of all the building is thoroughly managed and like they clean the common areas, the laundry is good, and the units that you're going to live in is well managed. Again, feel free to ask for additional requests at the point of signing the lease and moving in. You can also request just to be sure that you're not coming into a pest infested unit. Ask them to fumigate again. They are more than happy to do that for you. You know, if you are unsure, if you like this unit and you feel like, okay, just to put your mind at rest, you can request for that and they will take care of it for you. Okay. One important factor for me as a renter in Toronto is that at the moment I do not have a car, and that is by choice. So I wanted a place that is super accessible to transit entry and exit points. I wanted a place where even if I'm running late, I know I'm going to catch the next train within 5-10 minutes, and at the most within 15 minutes I'm at my destination. So this one was really a deal breaker for me. Like I wouldn't have it any other way. So I was so insistent on finding a place that had a good walk score, highly accessible to you know, like groceries, and the commute and travel time, whether I'm walking or taking the transit, is between 10 to 20 minutes. Yeah, so guys, trust me, I'm speaking from experience. Mind you, this is the 5th apartment I'm moving to. So over the years, these are the things that I've noticed, because again, I used to come back home super tired and, you know, wake up super early to travel because I have to be at work at a certain time of the day, and I'm really getting tired of that life. So I decided to make a switch, and one of the ways I'm doing that is having a place that is super accessible. The proximity to work is cool. Like I honestly do not have to sweat. Even if I'm running late, I can tell you for sure, okay, I'll be there in 20 minutes, and I'm there in 20 minutes. So again, this was a must have on my list. I wanted a place that had a good walk score, that was super accessible to everything, literally. Like if I have, like, I am so spoiled for choice right now, and I'm still discovering new grocery places that I haven't even had to go to the places where I would typically shop. And I love that for me. I love the convenience of having lots of choices. I love the convenience of, if my friends have to travel so far to come to town, I literally can leave the house when they are, like, I'll just let them know, when you're 10 minutes away, call me. And I'm literally walking out of the house and I'm there in good time, sometimes even before them. So I really don't have to sweat if I want to go out. Church is a breeze, work is a breeze, you know, TTC is just right at the next street. So I love that for me, and I am so grateful I had to stick it out and be insistent that this was what I wanted. Again, that is the part where, remember I said, be firm, not just with your budget, be firm with your non-negotiables, be firm with all of these things, because trust me, you'll find lots of apartments and you'll be thinking, oh, do I do this, do I not do that? So when you have the things that I must have for you, trust me, you'll find that one apartment that actually takes, if not all of these boxes, most of it for you. Make sense? The next point on my list is for the must-haves. I wanted a space that had visitors parking. Yes, I'm not mobile, but I do occasionally would rent a car if I have to do big errands, or I have to, you know, travel far and I just want the convenience of driving. So I specifically looked out for apartments that had free visitors parking. Also, if I have guests, right, I don't know that I want my guests to pay for parking because they're coming to see me. So this is very hard to find, you know, within downtown and the midtown area, but trust me, you will find. So again, if you start looking early, one, it takes away the pressure. Two, it gives you, the renter, an upper hand, because you know what you want and you started early to look out, so you will find that one that works for you. And that was my scenario. And again, even for some reason, when you're disappointed because you started early, you would have alternatives, you have options, right? And even if you did not find the one, you will keep looking and you find the one. So these are the reasons why you need to start early, because overall it is super helpful for you down the line. I know some of you might find this very funny, but one of the apartments I looked at had all of the things I wanted. No, it didn't have two things that were my must-haves. It didn't have a big storage space, and it didn't have a balcony. Yes, I know some of you would argue with me to say, oh, but how many times do you get to spend time in your balcony and whatever? I might not spend month to month there, but I love the choice of having a balcony. I love the choice of sitting there to read. I love the choice of looking out of my window and coming out to get some fresh air. I love the choice. Okay, question for you. Please, oh, don't be offended. Where would you store things like your used mop stick for it to dry? I thought as much. Outside, of course. So yeah, a balcony, you can use it for all of these things, right? So I wanted a balcony. I wanted to have the choice to sit there or not to sit there. And besides, summer is approaching. That is the time to use your balcony. And during the winter months, you can just seal up your things nicely, but you still have the space all to yourself. So yes, a balcony for me was a must-have. It still is a must-have. And yes, I got one. Okay, so my next point will shock you. And the reason I say so is because I remember I said I saw lots and lots of buildings, right? An elevator. It looks super simple, and I'm sure you're wondering, why did she add that to her list? It will shock you, some buildings do not have an elevator. Yes, they're so cheap, well maintained, but hey, no, I don't want to have to go up and down the stairs every day. How many times? Like, come on now. I'm not trying to lose weight. I'm currently even looking for more weight to gain. So I'm not trying to lose weight, please. A garbage chute. Yeah, so hey guys, you I'm making this list. It looks ridiculous, some of the points I'm making, right? But to me, it's everything. So imagine for someone like me that likes to clean and cook and make sure my space is looking good. Obviously, you'll be sweeping lots of dirt. When you're cooking, you have like things to take out. Imagine living on maybe the 18th floor and you constantly have to go down to trash. That is not realistic for me. The apartment might be way cheaper, but I'm not going to do myself a disservice because I'm looking for a cheap apartment. So no. A garbage chute was one of the things that I could not do without. Trust me, that thing is so convenient. So long as you package garbage very well and make it like you're not littering the space, you just walk out of your door a few steps away from you, use the garbage chute, and you can make multiple runs as much as you like, any day, anytime, midnight to whatever. You can make your trips to the garbage chute. It is so convenient, guys. If I have to go downstairs to throw major things, it's like maybe a big carton, maybe when I unbox something from Amazon and then I have to take it downstairs, that is allowed, that's okay. But every other thing, having to walk like up and down, come on, no thanks. So the final point for the things that are not negotiable for me was having one amenity that is super important for me is the gym. I use the gym and I like the convenience of knowing that it is there for me to use it whenever I want to use it. Now, again, having a gym in your apartment, please make sure that that gym is open 24 hours. Because from my experience, I realized that when I was looking at apartments, some gyms had like open and closing time. And when I asked why, they're like, oh, maybe it's in the middle of the building, or like there's a unit underneath or on top. So when you have to drop a dumbbell and whatever, it's going to disturb the person living downstairs or beside or whatever. So I made sure to look for a gym, not just a gym, but a gym that was open 24 hours. Yeah, so sometimes I can be weird like that. I can go to the gym super early in the morning because I have a busy day, or you know, like I might not have the time to do it. So I like the convenience of going to the gym whenever I want to use the gym. Yes, so in one of the apartments I'm going to be showing you, this apartment, trust me, had everything I wanted. The space was lovely. It had a walk-in closet. The appliances were like, everything was perfect, but it didn't have two things. Oh, and guess what? It was very affordable. All the utilities were inside the rent, less than 2K. But guess what? It didn't have a gym, and it didn't have a garbage chute. So I came back, I really had to process this, and I asked myself, I know one of the things on my vision board and goals for me in 2026 is to continue to stay fit. So if I had to take that apartment, I would kiss the gym goodbye, and I'll kiss my fitness goal. Does that mean that I cannot, you know, have gym membership? I can do that, but for me, it's not realistic. I already have a busy schedule, and I'm not going to pay for gym membership out of my building, because then again I have to factor in, oh, come back from work, get dressed, or go, like, I don't have the energy for all of that unnecessary movement. So it is important, or it was important for me, that the building that I'm going to have to live in for the next while, there has to be a gym. Not just a gym, one that is open 24/7 and that is functional, that has things such as a dumbbell. Guys, it will shock you the things that are in gyms, so make sure you visit all of these amenities to see for yourself. I've been to an apartment where it was all nice and good. They didn't have dumbbells, they only had treadmills, and they called that a gym. Yes, it's a gym, but the things there would not work for me. So make sure you visit the gym and see the things that they have there. Are they equipments that you're familiar with? Are they things that you can use? Or if you're looking to try out new things, do they even have things like that? Because then again, what is the point of having a gym if you cannot use it? It doesn't make sense, right? So yeah. Okay, now that we have sorted out all the must-haves, so these are the things that I was flexible with, and it wasn't super compulsory for me. It would have been nice to have it, but I don't have them, so I'm okay. And if I do have them, that's a plus. So top on my list is laundry. Now, I've lived in an apartment where the laundry was in the unit, and I've also lived in one where it was a shared laundry. But guess what? I literally would do my laundry twice in a month. Yes, I would stack the clothes and do the laundry. So even when I was living in the one that had the laundry en suite, it was still twice a month, and either ways I'm good. So this unit I currently am living, there's no laundry in the unit, it's a shared laundry, and it works for me. They have bigger washing machines downstairs, and I can wash like the heavy duty stuff like my duvet. Meanwhile, when I was even living in the one that had a laundry onto it, I would still take my laundry outside sometimes for the heavy lifting. So I don't know, it's okay to have that, but for me, it's not compulsory at this stage of my life to have an ensuite laundry. So I can do without, like I can have a shared alternative laundry. So it works for me. The next on my list is a dishwasher. So would you believe me if I told you that I don't use a dishwasher? Quite frankly, I don't really know how to, and I don't know that I'm interested in learning how to use a dishwasher, and I'll tell you why. So I live alone, and I don't know if it's quicker for me to just use dishes and wash them on the spot, like as I'm cooking. So the concept of even having a dishwasher, I would totally forget that I have one. So I'm not necessarily using it. Right now I do have one, so maybe I'm going to use it, right, and see what it feels like. I've heard it's good and it saves energy, or it conserves water, so maybe I'm going to try that out. So I've had it both ways. I've lived in apartments that had dishwasher and I didn't use it, and I've lived in the one that did not have a dishwasher and I didn't even notice. So either ways I'm good, but right now I do have a dishwasher, and so maybe I'm going to try it out. The next on my list is a walk-in closet. It would have been nice to have a walk-in closet. I saw apartments that really had lovely walk-in closet spaces, but because it was something that I was flexible on, and other things were more important to me, I could part with it. So where I'm currently living, I do not have a walk-in closet, but they really made good use of the space. Like, space management was top-notch and the layout. So I'm not really missing having a walk-in closet. I have all that I need right now, so I guess maybe the next time I would find one, so it's all good. The next one is additional shared amenities. So while it is a must-have for me to have a gym and a functional one as part of the shared amenities that the building has to offer, another thing that would have been nice to have was a party room. So maybe if I wanted to host friends and just, you know, have all of those things, like party room, like a cinema, a sauna, a swimming pool, all of those things are really nice to have, but I don't have them. The only thing we have here is a swimming pool in addition to the gym. So I'm kind of okay if I do have friends here and they feel they need to swim, we could all go downstairs. Plus I could chill by the poolside and just read a book and sip on some lemonade, or like, you know, on some bubble tea, you know, just whatever I feel like. So I love that. We also do have like a space for grilling. If you're hosting friends, you want to grill stuff, and just, so it's more like an open concept. It's not like an in-house party room where if I wanted to host friends or I have a birthday celebration, I'm generally just celebrating something. We don't have that in this. It would have been nice to have, but it's not compulsory. I can actually do without it. So I hope that I've been able to do justice with, you know, the tips that can help you as a renter to find your next home. Thank you so much.